NIL deals have been the absolute destruction of college sports. Obviously, with the two major sports being college football, college basketball. And it's happening before your eyes. The transfer portal, NIL deals, all these different things are turning college sports into the highest bidder on the market gets the guy. And when they decided to make NIL a thing, I said it a long time ago before this podcast even existed that NIL would be the destruction of college sports as we know it. And it's been exactly that. It's been exactly that. You have guys entering into deals before they sign. They won't sign the deals unless they actually have the deals for NIL money in place through the school's different collectives, sponsors, endorsers, etc. Let's not act like these agents for these college athletes are really doing their job. They're not really making any money. They're not really they're not really earning their money. They're not earning their money. They don't have to go search for stuff. It's being handed to them. Now, might there be some agents of elite level athletes, but I still haven't seen a commercial with Shador Sanders that didn't include his father. I think the one with Shiloh may have been there together. How do you think that one got worked out? I haven't seen a commercial with Travis Hunter. I haven't seen a commercial with Cam Ward. I haven't seen commercials with any of these guys really. But before we jump in, thank you so much for your continued support of this channel. This is Rudy's Rant, where we talk facts over feelings powered by coming out of the podcast. I'm your host, Rudy Rodriguez Showmont, and again, I appreciate you for your continued support of this channel as we get closer and closer to 7,000 subscribers. I don't think we're going to hit 7,000 by tomorrow at midnight, the new calendar year, but we're getting there, so help us get there even faster. I greatly appreciate y'all. If you see, I have my new logos back there. I figured out how to make them work and be seen in this video by the camera, and that's basically I had to dim them down some. So I'm gonna be adding my UM one. I'm getting a UM one. My wife got me those two up there for Christmas. I'm looking for a logo as well to put in the background and the whole nine. But I thank you so much for your continued support of this channel. I greatly appreciate y'all. Let's talk about the topic at hand. Florida State University head basketball coach Leonard Hamilton is being sued by 6 of his former players. He's being sued by his former players for NIL money that has not been paid. Now, what does this mean? I dropped a short video on this a little earlier on Instagram, so go ahead. You can go over there and check it out. But I knew I was going to do a longer form video on this topic because this is a major situation here. And I don't think people really truly understand the magnitude and gravity of what's happening now. What you have here is a head basketball coach at an ACC program being sued by 6 of his former players. Darren Green Jr., Deontay Green, Cameron Fletcher, a.k.a. Angel Reese's ex-boyfriend, Josh Nickelberry, Primo Spears, Jalen Warley. Now, I don't know where Darren Green Jr. is. He doesn't have a profile on ESPN. Let me see if he's playing. Yeah, I don't know where he's at. Oh, he's in the NBA Summer League. I don't know. He's actually probably a professional or trying to become a professional basketball player. Now, the rest of them, Deontay Green, he is now at South Florida. Cameron Fletcher, I believe, is at St. Louis. No, he's at Xavier. One of these guys is at St. Louis. Primo Spears is at University of Texas San Antonio. Primo Spears is averaging 22.3 points per game. I bet Leonard Hamilton wishes he had paid that NIL money. I bet he wishes he had paid that money. Mind you, this is the 4th school that this guy, Primo Spears, is at. And his worst season was actually at Florida State. Prior to that, he was at Georgetown and Duquesne. But let's take a look at the last one here, the last player on this list, Jalen Warley. He is at Virginia. I don't know why I thought someone was at St. Louis. I don't know why that was in my brain. Let me see about this guy, Josh Nickelberry. Josh Nickelberry is actually Uh, this guy's been to so many damn schools. Also, Jesus, I don't know where this guy's at. Is he at Louisville right now? No, that's in 21. I think he's used up all his eligibility. He played at Louisville, LaSalle, and Florida State. Florida State was his last stop in his basketball playing career. But these 6 players have all come together to sue Leonard Hamilton for $250,000 a pop, alleging he failed to make good on a promise to get each of them $250K in name, image, and likeness compensation. Now, one might say, well, you're if you didn't sign anything, there's nothing that's there. But this is a bigger picture situation. This is the head coach of the basketball team. And the attorney involved in this is an attorney that I actually personally know. He's a Fort Lauderdale-based sports agent. His name is Darren Heitner. I mean, I'm not friends with Darren, but I've known Darren for probably, God, what year are we in? 24? I've known him for at least 6 or 7 years. I've known of him for longer than that. But I met him personally. I've been to his house. Very, very nice guy. But he is good at what he does. So if he's filing a lawsuit on behalf of these 6 former players, there's something there. There's absolutely something there. Filed a 20-page 20-page complaint in the Leon County Circuit Court. The former players allege that Hamilton promised them the money from his business partners, that being collectives. The lawsuit says they walked out of a practice last season over the missed payments and intended to boycott the February 17th game against Duke. They ended up playing. The Noles lost. Admitted guarantee that Hamilton that they would be paid, but they never were according to the suit. Now, they didn't sue the school. They didn't sue the collective. They didn't sue anyone. They didn't sue any of the assistant coaches. They sued the head coach of the basketball team. They sued one person. The university is aware of this statement. The university says, we support Coach Hamilton's right to defend himself against these allegations and look forward to an expeditious resolution of this matter. I will tell you this. I would be shocked if Leonard Hamilton's the head coach at FSU next year. I have a hard time seeing him come back next year. He's already over like 75, so he's pretty old. They weren't very good last year. They're 9-4 this year, but I have a hard time seeing that they would bring him back next season. The university statement also said an inquiry into allegations is ongoing, but at this point, we know of no unfulfilled commitments by FSU in terms of scholarships or other appropriate benefits or the Rising Spear Collective relative to NIL payments owed to the athletes. Again, Leonard Hamilton did this on his own. Leonard Hamilton allegedly promised these guys money and couldn't deliver on his promises. This is similar to what happened at UNLV this year with Matthew Sluka, the starting quarterback, and even Jaden Rashada, who's now he's at Georgia now. I thought he was in Arizona. Okay, this guy's all over the place. He went to Florida, committed to Miami, went to Florida. He committed from Florida, went to Arizona State. Now he's at Georgia. And he sued Billy Napier last year over an alleged unpaid $13 million NIL deal. But I think there was a little bit different with Florida because there was a collective that was always named in this conversation. This seems to have been a promise made by Leonard Hamilton. And again, I don't know if it's true or not. This is an allegation. It's a lawsuit. He has the opportunity to defend himself. But if every conversation these guys have had was one-on-one, it's basically your word against mine. And in this case, 6 words against 1. So who do you believe? The 6 guys who transferred or finish their eligibility, or the one coach who's trying to stay relevant in college basketball? You have to make that decision. A jury will probably have to make that decision. I'm going to venture to guess that this will never, ever see a trial. If it sees a trial, it would be catastrophically bad for Florida State. It would be catastrophically bad for the NCAA. NIL is a problem. But I will tell you this, it will be a real problem if this ever goes to trial. Because if it goes to trial, people are going to be deposed. Discovery is going to come out. And every single thing that Leonard Hamilton has on his cell phone, his email, any piece of paper he's ever touched in the last 3 years will be scrutinized, will be looked at. And I will tell you this, if it did turn out that he made a promise of NIL to these 6 players, FSU will have to fire him immediately. But I think it'll take a lot longer than that because of how the court system works. And I have a feeling by the end of this basketball playing season, Leonard Hamilton will retire. If he doesn't, I would be absolutely shocked. I will be shocked. But this is an example of why there needs to be rules, real, actual rules for NIL. If you don't think head coaches, have been making these types of deals with players since NIL came into play, you're high. They're all making these deals. They can deny. Every single head coach is involved with these deals for these players. They're all involved. They can deny it. Sure. There's not an NIL deal that happens on any of these teams that is not given a rubber stamp by the head coach. It might be a fake rubber stamp, but it's rubber stamped by the head coach. Because he's the coach. He's the one getting these players. So the question remains, what happens when all the info on this starts to come out? I think Hamilton will be fired. He'll resign. But like I said, I think he'll retire. But I think it's for Florida State. You're looking at absolute humongous violations, major violations for the NCAA. What does that mean next? That means they start looking at the football program too. You're going to start looking at everything. You're going to start looking at the entire school. Because this reeks. This reeks. Problem is Leonard Hamilton couldn't fulfill his promise, or his alleged promise. I have a hard time not believing these guys. I absolutely believe these guys. I've heard too many stories about NIL stuff nowadays that it's crazy. And this is really bad. But I think this is I'm tongue-tied on this one because every coach is involved in this stuff. And if you don't start implementing rules, you're going to start seeing coaches getting sued more and more and more. And Florida State's not being sued. And Florida State's not paying for his attorney from what their response is. He doesn't have an attorney. I'm sure he has an attorney, but he doesn't have an attorney yet for this, per the report. But who's paying the legal fees? Not Florida State. They're not involved. They can absolve themselves and wipe their hands and say, look, you made these deals. Because if he loses, who's paying this bill? Because he's the one being sued. He's the one making the promises that he couldn't keep, allegedly. Can you imagine if a coach has to cop out? He won't look. If they lose, if he was to settle this out of court, it won't settle for $250 a pop. It'll settle for 150 a pop. He'll be out $1 million plus attorney's fees. So 6 times 150, that's what? 600,000 plus 6 times 5, $900,000 plus attorney's fees. He's out $1 million. And I mean, Hamilton has the money. He's a freaking multimillionaire. He's been coaching for 40 years. But this is going to really make college coaches be a whole lot more careful about the promises that they allegedly make to these young athletes. Because these kids today don't give a fuck about you. They don't care about your program. They don't care about your reputation. They don't care about any of that. These guys are all they're all mercenaries. They're all coming for the biggest check. They're all looking for the buck. They're looking for the money because they know that most of them are not going to play professional sports, and they're looking to maximize and capitalize on this opportunity. Because at some point in the next couple of years, there are going to be some real rules instituted in NIL to control this because it's out of control. It's out of control. But for Leonard Hamilton to be sued by 6 players and the school basically say, we support him, but that's about it. What do you think about that? Interesting, don't you think? It's definitely an interesting topic at hand. But we shall see what comes about because if this goes to trial, oh boy, that will be some entertainment. I'd want to have that on television because I want to hear what everybody got to say about it. But I said it years ago, NIL was going to destroy college sports, and NIL has been destroying college sports ever since it showed its face. There were so many ways that they could have done this to get these guys paid more money, increase the fucking stipends that they get. I mean, give them 3,000-4,000 a month in a stipend. That's like damn near 50,000, 36 to $50,000 a year. And you make it where it's tax free, so they're not paying taxes on it. I mean, there are so many things they could do, these schools, and the NCAA could have done. But now you have a thing that's the cat's out the bag, and you got guys that are making 4 times what their coach makes for no work, for no actual work. Playing the sport is not the work. Because the work for name, image, and likeness is not on the field. It's off the field. Yes, what you do on the field helps what you do off the field, but if you're not actually producing marketing, advertisement, etc., and you're not actually increasing sales of something, why am I giving you this money? This is the most free job shit I've ever seen in my damn life when it comes to NIL. No job having ass motherfuckers getting free money for playing football. And many of them not playing all that well, making more money than professional football players make while they're in college, under rules that professionals have to live by that they don't have to live by in college. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Love to hear what you got to say. This is Rudy's Rant. We talk facts over feelings. Sure to like, subscribe, follow, leave a comment. I want to hear your voice. I appreciate y'all. Come on now.